I got my Gucci's on though.
Got your
These are my
Gucci's on? Is that
these,
what they are?
yep, Gucci's.
Ooh, fancy. My
Very fancy.
sunglasses are from Old Navy and they're like 4 years old.
Yeah, Latinos don't shop at Old Navy.
Oh, I'm squeezing my data plushie.
Hey, you found something a
Yeah,
lot brighter than you.
yeah, whiter than me. Oh, look at him. Do you shop
Did
at
he
Old
shop at Old
Navy
Navy?
too, Data?
We both have the same joke. Yeah. Set up,
Plant and pay off, as Daniel would say.
plant and payoff.
You getting a toy?
You want Mikey or you want Bowser? You want me to use Mikey or you want me to use
Ooh.
Bowser?
Okay, do Bowser today.
We'll save this guy for a horror movie.
Okay. Oh, so this one's not a horror movie. Oh, you
Also
just gave
have
it away.
this
Oh.
Littlefoot,
Is that
and it had
Littlefoot?
him. That's Littlefoot, and this is the very same one that I had when I was like 3, 4 years old. I got it for Christmas, and I remember that Christmas vividly because my mother did like where like Santa left his bag. So you wake up, whoa, Santa's bag, and then we dig through it, and there it was. So I've kept him forever.
That is so sweet. Oh. We got our little buddies, and they're gonna help us out today.
It's our episode buddies.
From movies to video games, welcome to Marie Plays It All. Today's episode is Late to the Game, where my co-host, Dannibal Lecter, forces me to watch movies that I embarrassingly have not seen.
She has not seen them, and we're gonna bite into the movie selection today.
Who are we? Are you giving me hints of what the movie is?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, why are you wearing shades, Daniel?
Because I just wanted to be a bougie bitch today. You know, sometimes you just gotta be bougie. Sometimes we gotta get a little bit of spiciness for the podcast episode to try to bring in some new listeners. That, or I'm just extremely tired today, and I just don't want to show I don't want to show the baggage today. So, as you guys know, this is our segment, Late to the Game. I introduce Marie to a movie that she regrettably hasn't seen, embarrassingly hasn't seen, and we mock her relentlessly for it. So what we do is we ask her a series of questions that she has to answer before watching the movie. Then we come back and we see how right or wrong she is. And we lastly end it with, will she play it back or will she rage quit it? You know what that means. You ready for the movie?
Yes, okay. I'm ready for the movie. Oh, God.
Okay. Here's the first question, though. What movie am I going to say? Kidding. You don't know. Now, if I mention a movie and she's already seen it, she gets to play the Uno reverse card on me, and then she gets to throw one at me. And we do again until one of us hasn't seen the movie. So, Russian roulette. This is Marie roulette. So, here's the movie. Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit?
Jojo Rabbit. So, there you go. No Uno reverse card on this one today because you haven't seen the movie.
No, I'm already thinking like there's like the movies that I'm getting like confused that I know exist that I'm getting confused in my head, like Brown Bunny and stuff like that.
Now that you have a handful of movies that it could possibly be, this is going to be a fun series of questions. Quiz Hot Shot. You ready for the questions? What is the movie about?
I hate
Jojo
you know what?
Rabbit.
Okay, I don't know if this is comedy. I don't know if this is a drama. I don't know if this is like devastating. I know nothing. Okay, it's about
Could be a horror movie. You have no idea. Is it a French film?
No,
How do you know?
that'd be Jojo Lapin. That's what that would be.
But maybe I translated it for you like a woman is a woman. Right? Because that one actually has this French name, but I didn't say the French name to give it away. So this one could be the translated version, or I could be throwing you off.
No, you're not throwing me off. It's not a French movie.
Tricks are for kids, Marie.
Okay. Is that a hint? It's a rabbit. Tricks.
Ooh, Jojo Rabbit.
Is it about is Jojo Rabbit the backstory of the Tricks bunny? And it was like how he landed the job to be the Tricks spokesman. And his real name's Jojo Rabbit.
So does that mean you think it's an animated movie or is it a live action?
That's not what I think the movie's about at all. I think the movie is going to be about Boy Scouts.
Okay. Boy Scouts.
Oh, I'm laughing.
Okay.
And their adventures on a camping.
How do you get Boy Scouts with Jojo Rabbit? You could be right. I'm just curious what the thought process is behind that one.
Yeah, it's gonna be about a boy scout camping trip.
Hmm.
They're gonna the boys are gonna come into some sort of perils, and they're gonna have to get themselves out of troubles with their boy scout knowledge. And one of the counselors is gonna be extremely strict.
So they're in peril.
That's the
Are they gonna
story.
get stranded in the middle of the forest and they have to rely on their wits?
That's one of them. They're gonna have to, like, I don't know what you learn in Boy Scouts. They're gonna have to, like, decipher between which food to eat and what's poisonous and what's not. They're gonna have to, like, their fires and stuff. They're gonna have to build themselves. They're gonna have to cross some, like, creek and not fall in. But one kid is gonna fall in, and then they're gonna have to
The
save him.
fat
It's gonna
kid.
be traumatic. Yeah, there's gonna be some, wilderness perils.
So you're saying that the main obstacle that they're just trying to survive.
It goes awry. It's not gonna be a normal camping trip. I don't
Hmm.
know what is gonna happen yet that's gonna make it not normal, but something does. Maybe I'll come up with that later.
Which historical figure is in this movie?
Ben Franklin. Benjamin
I
Franklin's
really,
gonna show up.
I was so convinced you're gonna say Abraham Lincoln for some reason. I was just like, and I was gonna laugh so much when you were gonna say his name. I was convinced
Yeah.
you're gonna say Abraham Lincoln. Who plays the mother in this movie?
Okay, wait, now I need to think about what era this is in, what era it was filmed in. Julianne Moore.
Julianne Moore. Okay. Is this like the hardest question that I can ever ask you every single time we do this? Is what era? Because I can pull from any decade, and I'm not just like you know, I just pull movies from recent. I pull them from all over the place. And it's like I can pull a movie from the 30s.
I went to 20s, actually. You can go to
Yeah.
20s. There's
Oh
movies
yeah.
like from the 20s.
There is.
Every single question you ask me, I'm petrified and I hate all of them.
So
I
this is the
love
show
it.
that you just love to hate to do. Got
It's
it.
a love-hate relationship. It's not your questions that I hate, it's my brain sometimes.
The main character is being trained to be what? But if you think it's a Boy Scouts, then I'm assuming he's training to do something there, right? Or do you
Yeah.
think it's another storyline that you want to add into the wrinkle of this movie?
No, I think that like the main character is training because like he wants to get like all the badges, so he needs to perfect every single one of whatever Boy Scouts do, like tying knots, uh, building
Okay.
fires, being kind. Is that one of them?
How do you
Should be.
display how do you win that award? You just said do you just say a kind thing? Or do you do like a kind act of service? I didn't earn that, but I skipped that day of Boy Scouts.
Yeah, you're not getting that badge.
Who is the eccentric director that is behind this film? So now you know it's an eccentric director.
Wes Anderson.
Ooh, good answer.
I could think of
Okay.
a director today, Daniel. I thought of a
You
director.
did. And here's
And
the here's the
quickly.
here's the hard part though. Wes Anderson does live action and animation. So it still doesn't
Yeah.
answer your question if it's live action or animation, does it?
No,
So
it does not.
are you still going with live action or are you going with animation?
Live action.
Okay.
The Jojo Rabbit animation that I have in my head is a totally different storyline. It's about a rabbit taking like kung fu lessons. And the historical figure who shows up for in this movie is Bruce Lee.
So it's not Benjamin Franklin?
Well, no, now because now I'm changing. I'm like, okay, there's Jojo Rabbit, the live action movie that is about Boy
Is this the
Scouts and the
first
perils that
time
they
that
face.
Marie has two different movies that she's pitching me for the same questions? Okay, pitch me two different movies that it could be.
And then the Jojo Rabbit animation movie is about a teenage rabbit who is trying to be like a kung fu master.
Love it.
The mom is voiced by uh Julianne
Well, that's pretty convenient. So,
Moore.
and did Wes Anderson direct both movies?
Sure.
So it's safe to say that the animation came out first, was a big hit, and then they adapted it into a live action similar to what Disney does. Is that what you're saying?
Except totally change the storyline. Absolutely change it.
As they always do. Got it.
Yeah.
Wes Anderson would do something like that. So, okay.
Yeah.
What happens to the character's mother?
Oh no, no. Oh no. Something tragic. I'm thinking. It immediately goes to sadness. Immediately my brain goes to something very sad. And I don't like that.
We established this trend.
Yeah.
Daniel's optimistic. Marie's very sad.
I'm Eeyore. I'm just um okay, so the boy's mother actually is gonna get promoted. She can't be the leader of the Boy Scouts because they're boys.
Can she? Yeah. But
No, well, so the boy's mother, when he is at Boy Scouts, the boy's mother is actually the head of the Girl Scouts, and they are at an opposite. They're like in the same. They're both doing their campings at the same time.
but they're
Campings.
competing.
No, but the girls are on the other side of the lake, and the boys are here. Oh, and the boys are gonna try to crash the girls do a
Ooh,
little
like
panty
Porky's.
raid.
Like Porky's.
I've never seen Porky's.
Add that to the list.
Okay, and then the mother's gonna have to get mad at her son, and but he can't go home. Like he can't be disciplined and go home because she's there. So what's gonna happen? So what happens to her? I don't know. She gets mad at him.
It makes sense. I mean, a lot of mothers get mad at their kids. The boy is ostracized from his training class when he does what?
I think he's ostracized by the other Boy Scouts because he's so good at everything, and he's getting all the awards and badges for everything, and they kind of like,
Jealousy.
jealousy, pure Boy Scout rage, jealousy. I mean, these dudes know how to tie knots, so they tie him up and try to keep him at bay and like hide him in the forest, and they're playing a prank on him.
Which makes sense. If they can tie knots, they can also untie bras when they do their panty raid, right? And their bra raid.
What kind of bras have you seen where they're in knots and you have to undo the
When you're in 6th grade, they all look like knots.
6th grade? God,
I'm assuming that's what age is. When you're in Boy Scouts, what age are you at? You're not like 17-year-olds in Boy Scouts, are you?
No.
Do they have Man Scouts? Which line of dialogue is stated 31 times in 1 minute?
Well, I'm guessing it's Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit. Jojo Rabbit.
Well, you kept saying Jojo Rabbit, so I'm thinking that's what they chant.
So there must be a point then where they're cheering him on at some moment in the movie. I'm assuming towards the climax when he's victorious. Right?
So to get the rabbit badge, you have to be the fastest runner.
That's
and
cool.
and they're doing like some sort of a sprint race thing, and then but they
Capture the
need
flag.
him. Ooh, capture the flag. Yes.
Flag.
Flag. I said that
That's
really
how you
weird.
said it. Yeah, I was like, is that how you Canadians say it? Flag. Sounds like Chick-fil-A. Flag. Jojo Rabbit.
So that's why they're chanting for him. His name is his name is Joseph, and they call him Jojo as a nickname. That's what his mom calls him, at least.
Jojo,
and
the idiot circus boy.
Okay. And he has to get from one end of this like camping area to the other end to get something, retrieve something. I'm not sure yet. And they're like, Jojo can do it because he's the fastest. He has the rabbit badge. And then they're all like, Jojo Rabbit. And then they're all cheering him on to go get it.
Are they lifting him up on his shoulders and he feels like he's top of the world?
When he comes back, yes.
Jojo befriends who when he discovers them where?
He befriends a girl from the Girl Scouts when he discovers that her doing the panty raid, but he didn't want to partake in the panty raid because Jojo's a gentleman, okay?
Very.
And then he stumbles across this girl when he's staying by the water area because he didn't want to go because it's like across the river, right? And then she was also down by the river, and lived in a van. And then he stumbles across her, and she's like, what are you doing here? And she's like, one of those girls like, oh my God, what? And then he is like, oh, he's all shy. So that, of course, she was like, ooh, this is endearing. And then they end up befriending.
Her character name. Letitia. Okay.
The first thing that popped in my head.
Perfect. I love it. I love that that's the first thing that popped in your head. Jojo is constantly offered what from his imaginary friend?
Oh, is this an adult cartoon? Dude, this is why I'm like, is this a cartoon? And then there's like an imaginary friend, and he's all like trying to get him to do drugs. The imaginary friend is constantly trying to offer him peanuts, but he's allergic. But he has this like temptation to always want to eat peanuts, but he can't. And then his
Because he's
imaginary
allergic.
friends like, yeah, and his imaginary friends always like eating something peanut related, and he's like, "Oh, you want a bite?" And he's always like, "I'm allergic," and it's like an ongoing joke in
I'm
the.
allergic. I'm only 6. So you ready to get into this movie? Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah, let's do it. I yeah, see what it's all about. Coming in hot. Coming in hot.
Coming in hot. Coming in hot. And we're back. And here we are, just casually coming back from a movie of Jojo Rabbit,
Absolutely.
just a mediocre movie, maybe. We'll find out how Marie feels about it. Maybe it's just a mediocre movie, or maybe it's a great, underwhelming movie she didn't expect to love. We'll find out.
Or maybe it was a huge disappointment, and we'll see.
Could be, but I'm gonna say no because you didn't have any expectations for this movie. So I don't think you'd really be disappointed if you didn't really know anything about it.
I heard of
Maybe.
it. Okay, we'll get into how I actually did hear of it.
Maybe after you put it on, but you didn't at the time of the recording because you gave us
No.
an entirely different movie.
But with some same fashion sense, I must add. There was a little bit of a
Yes,
vibe
yes, there
there.
was.
There was a
There was.
vibe to what I said that was in this movie, which
Yeah.
I was kind of shocked because in my mind I was thinking that's what kids look like.
All right. So you ready to get into our questions?
I'm ready.
Okay. What is the movie about? Does it have a lot to do with Boy Scouts? Were you pretty close to that, or were you slightly off?
I mean, Boy Scouts in a sense. They were.
They were boys, and they were scouting.
This movie is about a boy
Hmm.
who really wants to be a Nazi and then go and it's like wartime uh Germany and what is that, World War II?
Yes.
I mean, in World War II, I know that. And then he goes to a little like Nazi training camp, basically. Not like hardcore, but like for the kids where they start off.
Softcore.
And a softcore Nazi training. And yeah, he's just obsessed with becoming a Nazi. And then there's probably more that you want to elaborate on the story. Do you want me to tell more? Do you want me to say more about like what the imaginary friend is, or you want to wait for that question?
Nope. You're gonna get us all right now.
Okay, and so he goes to the camp and then he accidentally not blows himself up, but it's something explodes right by him and then he has to be sent away from the camp and he's upset because he can no longer be like a real Nazi because he's like scarred and he's limping. Um and he sees his imaginary friend who is Hitler.
Played by Taika Waititi, which is Jewish.
Yes. Oh, he's and yeah. And then
Mhm.
his mom, I don't want to give too much away though, because
Okay.
no, I'm not gonna say the
Okay.
rest. I'm gonna say that.
Don't say
Okay.
the rest. There you go. That's enough.
That's it.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Which historical figure is in the movie?
Benjamin Franklin.
Correct. Hitler. Hell
Sla.
Hitler.
Yeah.
Okay. Who plays the mother?
Scarlett Johansson.
That is
And you know
correct.
what? She did really good in this movie, and I think it
Better than
might
you
be
expected.
one. Yes, I think it might be one of my favorite movies that she was in, or like her performance is one of my favorites of hers.
Hmm. I agree.
Yes.
Very done.
Hmm.
Done very, very well. She's very grown up in this role, and you could see how much she's kind of evolved as an actress. Some of her best work, must say.
Agreed. Also directed really well. Like she must have been directed really well.
Who is the eccentric director that is behind this film?
Taika Waititi.
Yes. He sounded unsure when he said it.
I
Yes.
wanted to pronounce it okay.
Okay, you did. What happens to the character's mother at the end?
Okay, so basically, this is what I want to say that there's going to be spoilers in this, and if anybody is interested in seeing a movie about kids going to, or especially this one child going to a Nazi camp and his imaginary friend being Hitler, and it's like a comedy, and it's if you want to see that and you don't want to know anything about it, please stop and go watch it right now. I don't want to ruin anything for you, and cut and then come back later because yeah. Anyway, spoiler alert, I was right with my tragic mindset. You see what I mean, though?
Yeah.
Sometimes my tragic mindset is correct, which is why I stick to it.
And
And
sometimes it's not, but we ignore those ones.
right. So basically, I can start crying again, dude.
Do it.
So she gets hanged because she was she's working against the Nazis. In the beginning, you think that she is working like with them and supports them, but she's not. And that scene, it's like I kind of thought in the beginning, like, okay, something bad's gonna happen to her. And then because obviously the question you asked me, but also because it has to, because she was such a fun, like loving, quirky, such a good mom in this movie. And just the scene when, oh, I don't want to ruin it for people, but when he finds her, I don't think I've cried this hard in a movie. It was another Up situation. I had to pause it and loudly bawl my ass off, like sobbing. And then I was like pretty much crying on and off throughout the whole rest of the movie. And then when the movie was over, I needed to let out what I was holding in for the rest of the movie and cry all night.
And what's so symbolic of it is that you see the shoes. He couldn't
Yes.
tie his own shoes. She had to tie it for him. And then when you see at the end when her shoes are untied and you see him attempting to tie it for her. And that's why
I
at the
cannot.
very end,
I
I
wasn't gonna
know.
say it because I'm gonna ruin it for people but
We
that
already said
part.
spoiler alert.
I
Yeah.
know, okay.
It's the shoes. And it's like a way of reminding you that it is, even though the director Taika takes a very whimsical comedic approach to it, it's still a very serious subject matter that we're dealing with
Mm.
death. And it's a way to show it without really showing it. And you're still seeing from the point of view with the height of the boy
You you
of
didn't need to
Jojo.
see anything. There was all these shots during the movie of the mom's shoes and her dancing with the shoes and so much life in these shoes. And the shoes were such a huge, like, symbolic object for many reasons in this movie. And then he's following this butterfly, and they're also the butterflies. I can't. So he's following this butterfly, and then he like looks up, and all he sees is mom's shoes. And I was just like, no. And then he hugs her feet. I hated this movie. It was bad.
Yes.
Okay, I'll tell my feelings about the movie as a whole after. But anyway,
Okay.
she
Okay.
she dies
Yes. Next question, shall we? The boy is ostracized from his training class when he does what?
when he grabs a grenade, and then he is this right? And he throws it and
Th-
it bounced off a tree, and then it explodes, and then he's kind of disfigured slightly, and then he's kind of like, you can't do this
Okay.
anymore.
That's correct, but there's a couple of others. So that one's one where he's
Okay.
physically removed. The one that I was talking about is the one
Mm.
where he doesn't kill his bunny rabbit.
Oh
So
yes,
that's the
yes,
one where they
that's
turn on him and it's like, well, you're not a killer, and that's when he starts getting questioned. So that's when he's actually
okay.
ostracized, I guess,
Okay,
you know,
emotionally,
socially. Yes.
socially okay,
Socially
socially,
ostracized. Yes.
yes,
I just don't want to give you any hints of anything. That's why I had to word it the way that I worded it. That's why I said
yeah,
training class, which is really, the softcore
yeah.
Nazi regime. Yeah. Which line of dialogue is stated 31 times in 1 minute?
Was it when in the beginning when he was saying Heil Hitler, or was it after when they're all going
Yeah,
Heil to one
that.
another?
Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler. That one.
Yeah. Oh
They
yeah,
repeat it
right in the
31 times
beginning.
in 1 minute. Yeah.
So
It's
good.
funny though. So you kind of see it and you
Hmm.
see how ridiculous it is. And that's something that they would always say to each other. But Taika obviously exaggerates certain things by focusing on how ridiculous the Nazi regime actually
Yes.
was,
Yes.
saying things like that.
Absolutely.
Jojo befriends who when he discovers them where?
He befriends her name Elsa, a
Mhm.
Jewish girl that his mom is hiding behind the wall in their house,
Yes.
that she has smuggled in there, and he discovers her there.
Think about how scary that'd be if you're there and you're just like
I
somebody's living in your
know.
house. Like, what the hell? Jojo is constantly offered what from his imaginary friend?
Smokes cigarettes.
Cigarettes. Isn't that so
Cigarettes.
funny? So
Oh
here's
my
some
god.
fun facts about that is that Hitler was actually a vegetarian and he was against smoking. So that's why when you see Taika that's playing Hitler and he's constantly eating steak and red meat and then offering cigarettes, it's a way to show that the Jojo character doesn't actually know Hitler well and he's just creating
Yes.
who he. And then when you see Hitler in the different uniforms, it's different eras of Hitler as he was rising in power. And at the last one you see him in is his final outfit before he died.
Brilliant.
It really is.
Brilliant.
So this came out right around the time he did Thor Ragnarok. So Thor Ragnarok came out and everybody was like, "Oh my
Really?
god." Yeah, so everybody's like, "Wow, Thor Ragnarok's amazing." And then he came out with Jojo Rabbit and it was like, "Oh my god, this guy's unbelievable." That's why the hype for Taika really skyrocketed. And this movie was not, nominated for Best Picture. Um which was amazing. And I was cheering this one on because it's unbelievable. And then that's why he kinda took a little bit of a hit with, Love and Thunder, but let's get into your thoughts. Let's get into your notes.
I didn't take too many notes because I couldn't see my screen because I was crying too much, but I'll just go off with
Even
what
throughout the whole
I
movie or just towards the end?
no, no, it was from the moment with the mom. Actually, from the moment it showed that hid the butterflies in his stomach, that cute little scene showing the butterflies in his stomach, that made me tear up. But then the moment from the mom's shoes on, I was just like, it's just coming. I couldn't, like okay, so my thoughts about this movie. First of all, I'm just gonna go and say that still feel like I'm choking up right now, and I don't know why. It's because this movie is a masterpiece. And this movie, basically, I don't know how it did it. I don't know how he did it, but how it made you feel every single emotion possible in this movie. And it was so funny in so many parts and like lighthearted and making like lightness of the situation. And then all of a sudden it's so sad. And then when it shows like the scenes of actual like war, I was like, how do I feel this like disturbed by this movie right now when like 10 minutes ago I was laughing? And then you're like, oh, this is so cute. And then you're like, oh my God, this is horrific. Oh my God, it's so sad. And oh my God, this is beautiful. And it just, if you want to watch a movie, it's going to evoke every single emotion. And it's like gonna make well, hopefully make a huge impact on you. Watch Jojo Rabbit, please, because I'm gonna play this one back. I'm already saying it now. We'll talk more about it, but I just want to say, right now, I am playing this back. And typically, I don't watch movies that involve war times. Not that I don't like them; think they're good, but they really, I lose it. Like I lose it. I'd rather watch a horror movie with a bunch of demons and blood and gore and guts than watch anything to do with like being in a war, because that to me that's true horror. That's real life horror happening all the time, and it's just like I can't even. I feel so bad. Everybody involved, and I can't do it. But this movie is my favorite wartime movie, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I love the movie. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. Phenomenal. I was absolutely cheering for it to win that year. I don't remember what else it was going against off the top of my head. I'd have to look at the list again, but it was one that I wanted to win. Taika's been good. I love Taika. He was good in what we do in the shadows. He was great in that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I've been a fan of him, and this one was a very grown-up version, and I love the fact they did this around Ragnarok to show the capabilities that he is as a director. Apparently, he wrote this one like many, many years ago, and then finally came around to directing it. What's great is that he says he purposely didn't do a lot of research on Hitler because he wanted it to be inaccurate as possible. And when they asked him why
Perfect.
he chose to play Hitler, he said that's the biggest fu to him is to have a Jewish
Yeah.
person play him.
Yeah.
So that is awesome. Yeah. He played him so well. Everything he said, I go back to this movie. I've seen it about maybe 3 times now. I want to say 2 or 3 times, but it's one I'm going to go back to every few often. Great film. Great film.
I forget the little boy's name. But it's a main character boy. First of all, he looks like Scarlett Johansson. The casting was really
Mm,
great. But
hmm
his acting was I would say like everyone's acting in this movie was god tier. Like
Sam
everything was just
Rockwell. Sam
oh
Rockwell was
my
so good,
god, he
man.
was
Yeah.
so good. Oh, I it's just everybody's amazing. You are in the story. I love that he didn't do any research on Hitler because if you just think about it, like the commoner doesn't know much actually about Hitler. Like if you go, you
hmm
know, he was bad, and that's like you know. So everything that he like portrayed, and like I didn't know that I maybe knew at one time that he didn't eat meat, but I don't remember that. But
Yeah.
now knowing and learning about that and that he did that in the movie, it's just so funny that that was the way that the kid to prove that the kid knew nothing about him.
He was fascinated with the Hitler because of what it represented, right? Because he's doing it for his dad. And even they hint at the fact with Elsa's, husband dying, having already known that. So that's why when he draws a little drawing of, him being dead, It's like you see you see her getting emotional when she sees that. It's just the little touches he adds to the movies and the little things that he plants in it. It's just so clever. That's what I love about Taika. It's so clever. His filmmaking is very clever.
And his humor is very natural, and when he's acting in movies, his acting is supernatural. Like,
Mhm.
it's supernatural. It's very natural.
Yeah.
Also supernatural maybe, but I loved how the emotions for everyone felt so real. I loved how when the little boy, because the little boy and the girl obviously become really close, and he ends up really loving her. And when the mom dies, and he comes in and essentially stabs her. It's like that emotion of him, like, loving her, but being so upset with her and taking out his anger of what they did to his mom on her, and then her being, like, a safe space pretty much, and her understanding. It was just like that scene, it was just like the emotions that aren't being said, but are so you feel them so strongly. Damn, that was an effective scene. That was just like this movie, I wanna watch it right now again. Even, like, now, I was just trying to, like, not cry, and not only because of how sad it is, but it really gets under your skin. It's like I felt it that whole next day, the whole night, and I wanna cry because it's beautiful. It's like I'm watching an art piece, but it's hilarious and so moving, and I'm so glad this movie exists. Like, this movie.
And that's the point of Late to the Game, where I show Marie some of Daniel's best collection while also showing her some of the lower shelf, like heavyweights. She doesn't know what she's getting. Could be Jojo Rabbit, could be heavyweights. Find out to see what she's getting next. But that's the point of the show. So I have a huge long list of movies that hit all different kind of ones. I'm not going to keep giving you ones that are films. I'm going to give you ones that are just some straight up movies. Meaning some fun, playful ones that you may watch and think, "God, this is awful. This is hard to sit through." Because I want to see what your reaction is to some of these movies. If I had to watch it, so do you.
Thank you for watching another episode of Replays It All. This was Late to the Game with my co-host, Jannibal Lecter. I can't do it. You can watch more of my content, of our content on our YouTube channel, Not a Strong Start. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Not a Strong Start. You can follow me on Instagram at Replays It All.
And you can listen to us anywhere you listen to your podcast. You can watch us, subscribe, like, comment, share on our YouTube channel, Not a Strong Start. You can follow me, Daniel Lecter, at King_Sangre.
Never stop playing, and
Never stop dancing.
never stop dancing. And guess what? No, you're never going to stop. You're never going to stop crying. If you watch this movie, Jojo Rabbit, you'll never stop. Never, ever.
Never, ever? Never,
Never,
ever.
ever. Oh, because there's brownies for that. Girl Scouts. They call them brownies here. Girl Scouts.
Brownies.
And their logo is just an anus.
Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit.